Blog Talk Radio.
Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution. Join me, Naima Latif, every morning, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, as we bring you stimulating discussions about the issues affecting our lives. If you're listening online at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution, press the blue button that says follow and get our daily topics every morning directly to your email and your smartphone. Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution radio show. We invite you to call in 515-605-9325 and participate in this daily think tank as we examine the challenges we face and develop solutions that restore peace and harmony. We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, bonjour. In Spain, hola. In Italy, ciao. In Egypt, ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, akwaba. In Nigeria, peleo. In South Africa, sawubona. In Senegal, nangadef. In Kenya, jambo. In Israel, shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia, assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. The Female Solution Global Radio TV Show invites you to an invigorating conversation with our team of hosts Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Time. Start your week with Monday Morning Mindfulness with ZeldaSpeaks. Tuesdays, Self-Cell Care with Jody Susan. Wednesdays, Repairing Broken Families with Naima Latif and co-host Kareem Hamid. Thursdays, Soulful Solutions with Dr. Debbie Green. And Fridays, Health and Well-Being with Beata. Saturdays, tune in 12 noon to 2 p.m. Central Time. First Saturday, Success Strategies with Jana. Second Saturday, Wendy Williams Esquire on relationships. Third Saturday, Move Around with Deborah. And fourth Saturday, Wisdom with Mama D. Join us Sundays, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time for Soul Purpose Healing with Beata. Call in and comment 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak to the host and be a part of the solution.
Is Monday morning a struggle to get out of bed, into the swing of things? Well, don't worry, you are not alone. Join us for thought-provoking, stimulating, and mindful conversations on higher learning with ZeldaSpeaks for your Monday morning mindfulness sessions on Blog Talk Radio, The Female Solution, Mondays, 7:30 until 9 a.m. Be sure and send your ideas, thoughts, comments, and suggestions. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, visit ZeldaSpeaks.com and send us your info. We'd love to have you. Experience mindfulness moments with the mindfulness/stress relief coach, Zelda Speaks. And thanks for sharing the mindfulness moment tip of the day. Stay on purpose, stay empowered, and stay tuned to your next session of mindfulness on higher learning with Zelda Speaks. Make it a mindful day. And thanks for listening. Process of breathing this morning. Inhale deeply. Hold it. And exhale. sound of the chime is simply a reminder to bring your mind back in focus because it will wander. That's what the mind does. And the purpose is not to control those thoughts, but to be aware of them and redirect them to where they need to go. All that going on up here, right? All righty. So inhale deeply. Hold it. And exhale. Inhale deeply. Hold it. And exhale. Keeping your focus on the breath and what you're feeling in the body. Inhale deeply. And exhale. Thanks for the power. In your legs and the ankles. Grand Rising, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, ZeldaSpeaks, the stressologist. Any stress in your life? Well, most of us do. Unfortunately, we don't know what to do with that stress, especially as it relates to worry. I was once a worried about everything, and I finally figured it out with some training. Yeah, I've been certified with the American Society of Training and Development, National Speakers Association, and a host of others. But none of those organizations helped me stop worrying. They just gave me validation for the public to see what credentials I have. So the credentials I have now are from life experience, and I've learned how not to worry. And you can learn how not to worry too, because it is indoctrinated in us to worry. We don't have the answers, so we think the worst is going to happen. Well, I got a solution to that. Are you stressed out? Are you ready to learn some quick techniques on how to de-stress immediately? Then book your free 30-minute consultation with ZeldaSpeaks, the Mindfulness Stress Relief Coach, at higherlearningnetwork.org. Thanks for sharing. And thank you for joining us back here on The Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show, which airs Tuesdays at 6, Wednesdays at 1 on Channel 19, and you can always find it 24/7 on our World Wide Web. Yes, you can. And it is 7:38, and we're celebrating the principles of Kwanzaa. You know, today is the first day of Kwanzaa, and I do apologize for Africa Porter, who is in such demand that this powerful queen the show was dedicated to her today, and it is still dedicated to her because of the work that she does on the planet for the community, for the culture. So let us send her love and light and prayer this morning because she's unable to speak. She speaks all over the planet. I read her bio, and it's like I knew who she was in the community, but I had no idea to the extent of her service, her activism. And she is followed, she follows by the legacy that was left to her from the Porter family. And it is simply phenomenal. We are going to reschedule Dr. Porter and have her on again when she is feeling much better. So love, light, and peace to Africa Porter. We know that you're listening, and we are praying for the healing of your throat. And I'm sure you just need some Africa time because you serve the community, and it's time that you serve yourself. So thank you for considering being a guest on the show, and we hope that we'll see you real soon, like next month sometime, whenever your schedule opens up. But right now I want to share with you, we're going to be joined by our executive producer of the Female Solution, that is Naima Latif, and we're going to be discussing exactly what is Kwanzaa, and can anybody celebrate Kwanzaa? Is this just for black people? Oh no, honey. If you're not exactly sure, don't take my word for it. Go to the internet and find out for yourself. So I'm going to bring this up here so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. December 26th to January 1st. And today is the 26th. So it is culminating in a communal feast called Karamu, usually on the first days. And this was founded by Dr. Malinga Karinga. And there's lots of questions here, so let me just answer a few of them. It's an annual week-long celebration honoring Black history and culture. The holiday celebrates 7 values in African culture, and if you see over here on the right, there's more images. And those 7 values are unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. So what is Kwanzaa and why is it celebrated? Is it a religious holiday? Kwanzaa is not, I repeat, Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. It is a cultural one. Because of this, people from different religious backgrounds, including African and spiritual traditions, celebrate this holiday. And this tickles me. Is Kwanzaa only for black people? No, baby. It's for people all around the world. Clearly, it's a holiday for African Americans, but just like people other than Mexicans, just like people other than Mexicans celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, we all celebrate it. Other races and ethnic groups are welcome to participate in the Kwanzaa rituals. And what is the ritual? For 7 days, this is what we do. On each night, a candle is lit to observe. And what are we observing? We are observing these 7 basic principles. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa are Umoja, that is today, the first day. The second one is Kujalagwa, self-determination. And the third one is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. The next one is Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. And Kaumba, creativity. And last but not least, Imani, faith. And I have faith that you would like to practice these principles with us. And with us today is the executive producer of the Female Solution, and that would be the one and only Naima Latif. Grand Rising, beautiful Queen Sister, looking simply gorgeous here today.
Well, Grand Rising to you, my sister star. We appreciate all you do so much. And this is an exciting time of the year. I always enjoy the Kwanzaa celebrations. And for those who remember back in the day that Lou Palmer, legendary activist and host of a show on WBON radio, would talk about each principle of Kwanzaa and really help educate us. I had an opportunity to meet the founder, Maulana Ron Karenga. I believe he's out of Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
But back in 1966, when the cultural celebration of this was, as you've read about if you weren't there, or you remember if you were there, this was a very transformative time for African American people in taking back the pride in our culture, our heritage, and everything from the Afro hairdo, which said to the world we're not ashamed of our natural hair anymore, to the getting rid of bleaching creams and we got locks, they're real natural hair. But this was revolutionary back then because we know that the cultural pressure made us feel like there's something wrong with us. When you are a minority in a dominant culture, it's very easy for your self-esteem to be attacked because your natural ways are made to seem as if they're incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had gone through a whole brainwashing for centuries of being in America in a state of being that was against our will coming here, and then a social system that was designed to keep us feeling inferior and feeling as if we didn't deserve respect and hating ourselves so that we would keep perpetuating our state of weakness and dependency because we didn't believe we had the intelligence to create what everybody else comes here and creates, and that is a powerful community that circulates wealth. So Maulana Ron Karenga was a originator of this thought, as so many, and I'm sure, of course, one person gets credit, but there's always a lot of people involved in a social revolution. But the idea was for us to first recognize our African heritage and be proud of it. Prior to that, you did not see African history taught in schools in a way that would make you feel proud of that heritage. It would always make you feel ashamed and degraded. They'd show you pictures of people which, even though for some it might have been their style of beauty, for us we found it revolting, the plates in the lips and, the extreme appearance that a Western mind would not find appealing. And they knew that these were images that we found repugnant. And so you see those kind of images in books, or the starving people of Ethiopia and the big-bellied, children with the flies all over their face and their eyes and everything, and you feel sad and depressed and ashamed. And these kinds of images were given to us on purpose so that we could feel bad about where we came from, and then we could accept the thought that, slavery might have seemed like it was bad, but really was a blessing because, God saved us from that, and we're better off now. We justified the torturous kind of living conditions of slavery, believing that at least we're better. And so a lot of that thinking had to be reversed. We had to be retaught about the greatness of African civilization and what we actually did leave behind in terms of strong community and family values and self-sufficiency, knowing how to work the land, knowing how to live in harmony with nature. We had to come to appreciate those values. So the principles of Kwanzaa were designed for us to, first of all, connect with a language that was very widely spoken as a trade language, which happens to be Swahili. Now, Swahili is basically a language spoken on the east coast in the eastern regions of Africa. Most of the people who were involved in the transatlantic slave trade came from the west coast region, simply because that's where the ships were and that's where the easy access. So the language, it wasn't a whole lot of us speaking Swahili that went through the enslavement experience. Most of us speaking perhaps languages like Yoruba or Hausa, and some of those nations of people, some of those family groups of people are what many of us came from. But Swahili kind of evolved into a continental-wide language used for trade, meaning, you had people speaking the language when they had to interact with each other so that everybody could understand what everybody was saying. So that was a language that Ron Karenga chose to outline these principles, Swahili. And then you will find that perhaps spoken in places like Kenya and others that are more eastern countries. But the principles are in the Swahili language, and then each principle is explained in its totality of what it means. And each principle is designed to help educate us on some aspect of our culture that we need to rebuild. And the first one, of course, being umoja, which in the Swahili language means unity. And it's a kind of unity that reminds us that we are all one people, out of many, one. One of the things that was our downfall as an African people was, even though it's good that you have your individual cultural identity, your individual family group, tribal group, and all of that, there has to be an understanding of one. And because there was infighting, outsiders were able to take advantage of that. And that why we lost control of so much of the land of Africa, so much of the rich land that grows so much and has so much minerals and supplies so much to the world. The indigenous people lost control of it because they were fighting. And, in a war there are no winners. There's only losers. There's death. There's generations of trauma. You lose your best in terms of the young people who would be bearing children and siring children and raising children. You lose a whole generation in war. And so a series of wars weakened the people, and then, some of us saw what happened in a bit of it kind of hinted to in the movie The Woman King. God, nations fighting each other and taking prisoners and selling those prisoners of war to the Europeans. That's what was happening, and that is what created the wholesale taking of people to this continent. And that happened because we didn't have unity. So that's a principle we have to reestablish. We know what's happening in our neighborhoods. We reproduce that same behavior in our neighborhoods. That's why they are economically distressed. When you can't organize people and organize resources to purchase buildings, to purchase supplies, to organize a workforce, create a business, create an industry, when you can't get together with people, then your neighborhoods become decimated and crime-ridden because it's like everybody for themselves instead of working together. So the problems that we have are the problems that we created because we made the same mistakes that we made in Africa that brought us to this continent in the first place. That was the lack of unity. So the first principle of Kwanzaa is unity, and the stress is that we see ourselves as one people. Now, we no longer have the various tribal distinctions that we had before. The Creator has put us in a situation where nobody knows who anybody is.
Okay.
We don't have people. And so since we don't have that, we don't have a way to create a division, so we don't have a reason to be divided. So why are we still divided? We got to look at ourselves. What is in me that's making me not able to see my neighbor as myself and work with my neighbor for our collective good? We have to learn how to do that. And we went through the enslavement process as a lesson, a collective lesson, on what happens when you don't have it. You create poverty. You create conflict. You create war. You create violence. You create death. So unity is that first principle, and the unity that we seek is one that would help us to value each other and to stop seeing each other as different. We look at all different ways that we create divisions now. Just within the city of Chicago, the South Side is the West Side. How ridiculous. The street organizations that have terrorized each other and all the citizens wherever they live with this imaginary division of the various organizations. Street organizations, I call them, of course, gangs, as they have been called. And many of them were originally founded as organizations that were supposed to be protecting the community, but it got manipulated and twisted. And next thing you know, just like what we did in Africa, someone sells weapons to one side and gets to the fight the other side. And so next thing you know, they're killing. Well, that's exactly what's happening now, and that's what's been terrorizing our cities, not just Chicago, but all across the nation. We have made the same mistake. So the question is, did we learn anything from that horrific enslavement experience? We have not learned anything because we have repeated it and we have recreated slavery in the form of the prison. So this time of Kwanzaa really needs to be an emphasis on these principles that can reverse the problem that we keep recreating with our, first of all, lack of unity. And then, of course, the second principle, and many of these principles, of course, are things that still need to be instituted even on the continent of Africa, because there's still a lot of conflict there. And that's why you have China, which has been able to just kind of take advantage of situations. A lot of Chinese moving to Africa, setting up business. And that's going to have a global impact in the future. But we, as African people, we have a responsibility to change the attitudes that keep us divided. So, and in our city, you can, again, like you said, you can go online and look up the Kwanzaa event. Today in Chicago, there's a Kwanzaa event being held at Mahalia Jackson Court, which is at 1 East 79th Street, which is 79th State. Beautiful courtway they've named after Mahalia Jackson, the wonderful, powerful gospel singer. Today at 11 a.m. So if you were in and around the Chicagoland area, you can go to that event. It is a little snowy outside still, but we do observe these events, even though it's kind of a cold season. So again, that is at the Mahalia Jackson Court at 1 East 79th Street in Chicago, and you can go online and just type in Kwanzaa event today, and wherever your city is.
Is that correct? 79th and State, 11 a.m., Mahalia Jackson Court. I just put that on the screen. And Naeem is going to have more locations in which she'll be sharing, but we need to get to the phone lines. 515-605-9325. Press 1 to speak. 706-202. I do believe that is Baba Kwame Sornhorst from Georgia. Grand Rising, Baba. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. On the first day of
Well, Assalamu alaikum and Habar Ghani.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Habar Ghani. Thank you for that reminder.
The response to Habar Ghani is Umoja. It's whatever day it is.
Umoja, yes.
You respond back to it. Right.
And of course, the news is the birthday of Kwanzaa, which is Umoja.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, go ahead, Papa.
And the greeting in Swahili is Matunda ya Kwanzaa. Matunda ya Kwanzaa. That means Matunda is fruit, and Kwanzaa means first, and it means the first fruit. But see, we look at the Nguza Saba. Those are the 7 principles, but there are 5 values that is base of the foundation of Kwanzaa. That's an ingathering of the people in reverence, in commemoration, and recommitment and celebration. Those are the 5 values in which Kwanzaa was founded for. And it came out of Kemetic, came out of Egypt and Nubia. Kemetic Institute right there on Oakland Wall is very instrumental because Maulana Karinga, Jake Carruthers, and Anderson Thompson were studying the Husia. And Jake Carruthers is an Egyptologist. He studied a lot of the Kemetic. And these are the ways in which they got together, and then he returned to California and began the process in the 60s of this celebration in which he saw that needs to be a celebration. His book that he wrote, The African American Holiday, the Celebration by Maulana Karinga, is a celebration of family, community, and culture. And this is what you have the foundation of the values in which he founded this for. And after you look at the 5 values, the thing in which you get is the origin of what it did. And this movement from 65 in the ceremony was to present us, as Naima talked about, that we were coming back to Wanusi Watamambisi. Wanusi Watamambisi used to be an Afro Sheen commercial, Black is Beautiful. And so what we are looking at, that we had to understand that we have a language that is lost. And yes, Swahili is a Franco-Lango. It's a trader's language because on the continent there were thousands, hundreds of thousands of languages that we spoke, but we had to have a communication, and that was one in which that was created. And then Guza Saba was the model in which they took from the Kemetic in looking at this, but they looked at it also in using it as a language in which we could use each one of these values and principles. And they came out of the Kawaida. And so these connections, and this is what we have to do, we look at it as another celebration, or we want to party with it, because I remember coming here to Georgia and doing the first Kwanzaa celebration, and then after that, they were in bars talking about, well, we're going to have a Kwanzaa party tonight. I'm going like, that was not the reason for Kwanzaa, and we've taken it and we've commercialized it.
Yes.
Because we did not really honor Kwanzaa until they made it into a stamp.
Oh.
Somehow or the other, until the government said that this is, we're recognizing this reverence of ceremony of our culture. We didn't really want to celebrate because we were stuck on Christmas and New Year's. And Christmas and New Year's Eve is not the beginning of the new year. New Year is when Sirius, our biggest star in our constellation, our solar system, is directly overhead, just as the sun is at high noon. And it's the alignment of that new season. So we have been misled in understanding how to celebrate. And I know I'm going to get some backlash from this, but the thing in which I say Happy Earth Day, so if this is the Earth Day, then that meant that yesterday Mary had a birthday because she birthed Jesus. That's Mary's birthday. It's Jesus' Earth Day. And see, what we have to understand is that these 7 principles, it deals with Mayat, the 42 laws of Mayat, the 42 laws in which our ancestors knew that a woman created 42 laws and saying, I have not, declarations. And so what we're looking at is we're commercializing and whitening a holiday that is culturally correct, but we've been misguided.
Excuse me. I need you to continue that thought, Baba Kwame, after our next commercial break. So if you are just joined in on the conversation, that is Baba Kwame Sunhorse from Georgia sharing with us. I just love when the elders call in and give us information and share with our callers information that we may or may not be aware of. And I learned so much. And I'm so glad you're with us this morning because, Baba Kwame, I saw on the news this morning where a tree just fell into a house. And I was like, okay, I know that's not Baba Kwame's house because he's out in the woods and that was in the city. So very grateful to see that you are still with us here this morning. So thank you so very much for joining us. And you all stay close. You want to call in 515-605-9325, press 1 to speak, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. C.
And as you can see, we are back here on The Female Solution. I'm your host, ZeldaSpeaks. Welcome to Monday Morning Mindfulness. And this is just a brief example of how we must get our children, our youth, involved. HLN TV is in search for youth interested in careers in broadcasting. If you want to be in news or traffic or any of the positions that are behind the scenes, that's what we specialize in, behind the scenes, radio, television, and print production. You can be a producer, director, engineer, audio engineer. There's just a plethora of positions that are available as interns. And we encourage our youth to go to our blog, hlntv.blogspot.com, and you can see the information there. And get your children involved, because this is what we as elders of the community have to make opportunities available to them. So you can also go to higherlearningnetwork.org, and the information is there as well. As we continue the celebration of Kwanzaa, community and culture, and I am joined by our very own executive producer, Naima Latif, looking simply gorgeous, lovely, marvelous in her beautiful blue this morning.
Well, I'm just reflecting.
Yes, my sister, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, and I appreciate what Baba Kwame says about what happens. We should understand that this is America, and everything that is done, people will figure out how to commercialize it. We have seen that with everything, and so we have to keep a focus on what the event is so that the commercialization isn't taking out of our hands. When we started bringing African cultural garments here, and that was a lot of what many of our cultural celebrations, we have the Africa Fest and everything else that comes around, I'm sure other cities, and certainly here in Chicago. And, we would be buying our garments, and the whole thing was to empower the vendors by buying the culturally specific clothing, artifacts, and artwork. And then, I started in other stores like, Sears and Kmart selling African garments made in China. I'm like, wait a minute. That wasn't the point. So other people, and I'm not saying that other people cannot sell things, but understand that other people will capitalize. And if our intention is to strengthen an economy that has been decimated by neglect, then we should be conscious of who we're paying when we purchase something.
Yes.
So many of the principles of Kwanzaa, the Nguzo Saba, which means 7 principles, Saba means 7, Nguzo principles in Swahili. So a lot of the principles point towards rebuilding economic base. So after the first principle of Umoja, unity, which means to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race, the second principle is Kujichagulia, self-determination, which means to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. And that means taking the power over our own definition. We've been called all kind of names, and, we call you this, and we call you that. And that principle means we define what we are to be called. If we say, don't call us Negroes anymore, that's offensive, well, then you got to call us what we say we're going to be called. Right. Whatever that is, whether you like it or not. Right. We decide what to name ourselves. And to speak for ourselves. You have people deciding, well, the Negro people should blah, 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 or the Negro people believe. Wait a minute. No, you shut up. We speak for ourselves. We'll tell you what we believe. And you don't decide who speaks, but we decide. So that is, again, a whole mindset of coming out of the control of other people and other people's culture and create for ourselves, which means if we're going to be selling our cultural clothing, then we want to create what we choose as a representative of our culture, and nobody decides, whether or not I can wear my head wrap when I go to work or whether I can wear a dashiki, you don't decide what I can put on my body. It's my creativity, my self-expression. You don't get to define me. I define me. If I want to wear locks in my hair, it's my hair. You don't tell me I have to press it because you want it to look like yours so that I can confirm that you think you're better looking than me. I do what I have defined for myself. So that was also a big, big, big step. I mean, we had to file some lawsuits. They had a right to wear afros and locks and braids.
The Crown Act is a prime example of that. These sisters in corporate America
had
thank you.
To be able to wear our
own natural hair.
And no one else on the planet has to do that.
No one.
Else can do that. Just because our hair symbolizes our unique identity and heritage. And if the thought is you are incorrect as God made you, you must fix yourself to look like us. If we accept that, then we'll conform to that. We'll burn the hair straight. We'll dyeing another color. I'm not making fun of people who dye. I mean, you can have your hair whatever color, whatever texture you want. It's your choice. You have the right to make the choice. Nobody can make it for you. That's what Kujichagulia means. You have the right to define yourself however you want to. If you want to straighten it, that's fine. If you want to curl it, that's fine. If you want to shave it off, that's fine. If you want to crinkle it up, wear it in lunch, that's fine. It's your right to decide. Nobody can tell you what you must look like. So that's what that principle emphasizes. And the next principle is Ujima, collective work and responsibility, which means to build and maintain our community together and make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. That means doing the kind of things that you do every day, Zelda, making sure that those who are unhoused get some help, because we can't just watch people struggle and suffer and talk about them.
Freezing outside.
We're all one community. We're all one people. We are our brother's keeper. And so we have to look at these problems and say, poor thing, she doing bad, poor thing, she getting put out. No, figure out how we can all work to help. Like we used to do, I know some of y'all might remember, rent parties. Somebody had to raise money.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I'll come pay some money because, I ain't got to pay their rent. I don't have a problem with that because it's a way that we collectively work to help someone be able to sustain themselves.
And I learned that about Africans big time. They have them all the time. They pay for everything, housing, funerals, bringing people over here from the motherland. Now, they stick together. We do too, but not, unfortunately, not like they do.
We need to do better.
Until today, as the Yalavanza would say, until today.
Because we understand that if I fall today, if I watch you fall today, I'll be falling tomorrow, and there'll be nobody to pick me up if I don't pick you up today.
Right.
So this is a practice that, and a lot of times, we did this when we were in worse economic conditions than we are today. But when you go away and get educated,
you educated now, child.
People who have less than you. You learn that selfishness. You learn that disdain for your brother and sister if they speak differently than you. They're not educated.
Right.
And we learn that arrogance. And so this is why these principles have to bring us back to a communal kind of consciousness, so we can think in terms of we instead of me.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about. So the next principle after Ujima, collective work and responsibility, is Ujamaa, cooperative economics, to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. So that means doing the kind of things like Willie Wilson does. He shares his wealth. He makes money all over the world, but he's also sharing it. And he said he doesn't just give it away in Chicago or in America.
All over the globe. And they've been doing it since the 80s. And it's not his fault. You just catch it on 50 years later.
Right. You just now find out he's been doing it, but he's been doing it. Giving away. Because when you empower people, then they can empower you. Whenever you have a store move into a community and the people are impoverished, unless you find a way to share your wealth, they will not have the money to buy from you, and you will be impoverished.
Thank you.
So hoarding creates poverty. We have to have cooperative economics. It's better to have a store that is owned by the community so that the community profits. That's what I would love to see. Some of these big box stores that close, like Target, Kmart, that shut down, and a lot of people are out of jobs. You think, okay, well, how are we gonna survive? That model of a few people owning everything is over. It doesn't work. So we have to think in terms of cooperative ownership. That's why I've just joined iTech. So that's kind of one of those cooperative buying type of things where we're all sharing. We're all, it's a sharing kind of system. And people are creating systems where we cooperate, where we share, where, we exchange, and everybody benefits. Because if everybody doesn't benefit and too few people benefit, then eventually they won't benefit either because nobody has the money to buy from you. So you have to share. You have to cooperate. That's really what works. And so we need to do that as a community so that everybody benefits. When one person is wealthy, everybody should share the wealth in some way so they can continue to circulate it so that everybody has wealth. And that is Ujamaa, cooperative economics.
And you mentioned iTex. I just wanted to point that out right quick on the screen for those who are interested in becoming a member. It's free to join. And you can go to chicago.itex.com and you can get information there. It's for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to buy anything. You can buy it Target, Walmart, Sam's Club, anything else. Get it there. And don't have to pay money, pay barter dollars. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining and waking up the culture, Naima.
Absolutely. Because that is the way of the future. We're going to see the world change and begin to reflect these principles of Kwanzaa. And that's how the world will be able to solve a lot of these problems.
Mm-hmm.
So the next principle is Nia, purpose. And that means to make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. So, like Baba Kwame is talking about, we have to have a purpose behind what we're doing. We have to have a vision for it. If the vision is to rebuild and restore and recreate so that we're all living in the abundance that is here for us if we work together, we have to all know that this is why we're doing this. And when we know why we're doing something, then we don't get subverted. We don't end up having somebody to take, a reverential, serious tradition that is intended to raise our consciousness and turn it into a mindless party where people are out getting drunk and fighting and going to jail, the same ignorance that we're trying to rise above. We have to have a purpose of why we're doing these things because we have a vision of where we're trying to go and what we're trying to create. And we have to keep that vision, that end goal in mind, seeing the communities thriving, seeing the families being able to stay together, seeing our children being able to grow up in safe places where they feel loved and nurtured. We have to see that vision and know that this is the purpose why we're doing these things so that we don't get distracted and end up going back to the same self-destructive behavior that we're trying to leave behind. So that is the principle Nia, purpose. And the next principle is Umba, creativity. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited. And in our creativity, that means us being able to beautify where we live, paint the murals on the buildings and make them bright and exciting and wonderful pieces of art. Plant the trees and the flowers and beautify where we live. Have the creative expression in our clothing, in our hair designs, and all the ways that we express ourselves, and find ways to create, whether it's a new system of transportation or a new system of renovation of old things that need to be repurposed. But always create. Don't wait for somebody to just give us something or save us from something. Create. Because we all have the creative energy inside of us. We all get inspirations on coming up with a new idea to solve the problem.
Because we created everything anyway.
We created everything.
A brother from the Middle East. I got to find this book when we go to commercial break. Black folks created everything and everything.
Well, as they say, necessity.
Oh, there it is. I see it right now.
When you have a problem, that is an opportunity to escape. Every difficulty brings an inspiration, and someone's mind tunes into the divine mind that's sending out the answers to create what you need. So whatever your problem is, you create a solution. So many of the machines and everything that we're using were created by the people who were doing the work because they were trying to figure out, well, how do we do this more efficiently? So we've created, and there's no secret cotton gin because we're the ones picking cotton. We're trying to figure out how can we do this in a way that is easier on our hands, trying to sort the cotton and the seeds and all that. And of course, you pick cotton. I know nothing about cotton. I'm afraid
you don't want to know nothing about cotton either.
And I understand that is not something that is fun to do in your spare time. Not a hobby at all.
But I tell you, it taught me so much that I can now appreciate it. Don't like it, but I can appreciate it. And this is the book that I was talking about. It's not big enough, but you can see Black people invented everything, the deep history of indigenous creativity. Paperback. That's his name, Dr. Sujan K. Das. And I got the book. When I read this book, I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, everything that you can possibly think of, anything and everything you can think of, and then some. I'm going through the book like, I knew that, but I didn't know that. Oh, I knew that, but I didn't know. Oh, my goodness. Zoology, biology, clothing, school, architecture, woodworking, government, money, flair, farming, genetics, substance, drugs, everything. Not something, everything.
Long time. This dark skin comes from centuries after centuries after centuries of evolution of our bodies adapting to the ultraviolet rays of the sun. And so now it's a genetic trait where we're born with what our bodies need to protect us from the elements. So we've been here a long time, longer than any of these English history books even record human history. So we have had time to develop things, to create things, to be inspired to come up with new ways of doing things. We've been here. That's why we're doing all of this. And in our book, Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma, we talk about a genetic memory. We have a genetic memory. The reason why this genius keeps kicking in generation after generation, even during the period of enslavement, because it's a part of who we are. It's recorded in the cells in our body. The ability to create, to think, to come up with ideas, and to manifest whatever we need.
What was the name of the book you just quoted, Naima?
Slavery, the African American Psychic Trauma?
Yeah.
Yes. And one of the things, well, of course, what came out of the book also was the stage plays that we did at the Southern Museum, a hip-hop journey with the ancestors, where we were showing that the present-day rappers, they have a genetic memory of a skill of being able to remember verses and rhymes and tell stories, because that's how we recorded history.
Yes.
The oral historians. And they would be recording thousands of histories in their mind, and they recited, there we go, they recited to a tune. And so that's training the mind to memorize to a rhythm. And so all these rap artists, all of these spoken word artists, all these artists that can tell these magnificent stories to a beat, and you wonder, how do they speak so fast? How do I remember all this stuff? It's in our genetic memory. It's in our genes. It's in our inherited capability. It's a brilliance that we have.
That's what our genes.
Having that brilliance that we have, again, purpose, we have to know that gift is for a reason. It's to elevate the minds of people. It's to educate. It's to share knowledge. So we can't allow it to be subverted into ways of destruction where we denigrate ourselves and others. We can't allow our God-given gift to be used against us. So we did that stage play as a way to inspire young people to see what you have and see that this is a gift. And what you have to do is infuse your mind with the knowledge so that what comes out of your mouth is something powerful, something that liberates rather than enslaves. So you need to know where you came from. And, we had such a great time doing that stage production. And I just love Dr. Margaret Burrows. She was there. She said, this is what I've been trying to teach all these years. So she was just, she was sitting in the audience next to my husband, and she was just having such a wonderful time watching the stage production. And we had such wonderful young people, part of the cast, they did the choreography and songs, and it was just fantastic. And artists that performed. So we have what we need in terms of our creativity. And when we use it for our benefit, we solve all our problems because we've been doing it. Like the book says, Black people change everything.
Everything. That's why we must continue to encourage our youth, which is why next Saturday, this coming Saturday, I should say, we will have the Global Virtual Teen Talent Contest, last day of the year of 2022. And that information is on our blog, hlntv.blogspot.com. Go check it out. I know you know some children somewhere between the ages of 13 and 19. Have them send in a 1-minute video YouTube link to hlntvshow@gmail.com so that they can continue on their journey of discovery and nurturing their natural gifts, talents, and abilities. Because I don't know how they remember everything that they remember, and you just pointed that out. That memory is embedded in our cells from birth. Yeah. That's how we remember, and that's why the curriculums at the schools have now included rap so to help the children remember. Because that's how we're rhythm people. So that's how we operate. That's how we remember things. And I got to remember to go to break on time before Naima calls me out. So let's take our last break, and we'll be right back. So stay close for more as we celebrate Kwanzaa here on the Female Solution and the Higher Learning Network TV show. Stay close. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Naima Latif, executive producer of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. We are a part of the online network of Associated Internet radio hosts, On Air. On Air empowers you with transformative news and interactive radio TV shows. This is such a wonderful time to be alive and to see our human family coming together as one community as a result of that powerful tool, the Internet. We can now talk directly to each other all over the world. There's no need for conflict or misunderstanding. There's no need for violence to solve our differences. We can talk to each other face to face until we reach an agreement. On Air offers a fantastic global guide to communicators from all over the world who are using their internet platforms to inspire us to strive to be our best selves in order to become the kind, compassionate, loving people we were all born to be. Once we do that, we'll see planet Earth transformed into a place of peace. Subscribe to the recommended YouTube channels, Facebook pages, and podcasts created by these Voices of Enlightenment. On Air provides daily news briefs and a weekly magazine to keep you abreast of events and opportunities. On Air news affiliates in television, radio, and print share information, insight, and interviews with notable personalities. Go to onaireverywhere.com for a daily dose of uplifting news. We're on air everywhere, online all the time.
All righty. So thank you, Lionel Reese, one of Tony's buddies who has joined not the conversation, but the campaign to help the homeless. And so I'm asking again here, we're talking about Ujamaa community and all of this togetherness. It's time for us to stay together and make a donation to the Higher Learning Network. 100% of the money goes directly to the homeless. We don't take out money for gas. We don't take out money for nothing, for food, none of that. We go straight to Walmart or any of the Home Depot or wherever is closest and get that butane. Whatever you send us, that's exactly what we get. There's no administration fees, none of that. You hear about all these nonprofits collecting money, and they collect $100,000 and $80,000 go of it for admin. Yeah, admin. I was like, really? You got $100,000 and you're gonna give away 20? That's just wrong on all accounts. Anyway, I said that to say this: give from the heart and continue the practice of officially being part of the Kwanzaa celebration, because that's what you're doing today. When you're celebrating humanity, you're celebrating your humanity and that of your brethren. It's the village, baby. That's how we do it. So thank you in advance for going to higherlearningnetwork.org and making your donation today.
Yeah. I mean, that's what Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujamaa, cooperative economics. I mean, all working together to make sure that we all have what we need. That's the way that we solve the problem. And it doesn't matter how a person got in that situation. You can't judge, they're homeless. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you got there. My job as your brother and sister, as a human family, my job is to help. And if I have the means to help, that's what I'm here to do, help.
Right.
And don't judge. What is it saying? Is there before the grace of God go out? You never know what a person has gone through in life. You never know what challenges they've had to overcome. You never know what unforeseen things happen that just made it impossible for them to continue on to take care of themselves in the way that they need to, and so they need a helping hand.
Right.
I mean, you don't watch a person that's drowning, whole thing, they going down for the third time. Oh, well. And you can swim.
Right.
You know, when you jump in the water and you pull them out.
Right.
So this is what we have to do. I don't want to watch people drown, just sit on the shore and just watch them go down and say, whole thing.
Right.
No.
Throw them a life raft.
Throw them a life raft. You know, you got one right there. Throw them a life raft. They can pull themselves out.
Thank you.
You know, help. So this is our responsibility as part of the human family.
And I forgot, I have a free ebook for anyone who goes to diabeticdonut.com, and you can download it. That's my way of giving it back, because I know that somebody somewhere ate a little bit too much over the holiday, and they are now borderline diabetic and don't even know it. That's how I found out that I was a diabetic.
Yes, that is something right there, because so many of us, you know, we just, so many of us use food as a pacifier. And we don't realize that we're hurting our body. This is a vessel that we live in. You know, it's like your house. You know, when the gutters fall down, you need to get them fixed.
Right.
You know, otherwise you don't have another problem, or you know, the pipes burst, you need to get them fixed. So anything on your body, you're living in here. If you don't treat it well, if you don't repair it and keep it up, keep it maintained, then it's going to break down, and then you can't live it anymore. You know what happens? You can't live in this body anymore. You got to leave.
Right.
So if you're ready to leave, then keep it in good shape.
Right.
Absolutely. So yes, we want to emphasize these principles of living. Kwanzaa gives us a chance, a reminder every year of what our job is, why we're here. This is our responsibility to repair what is broken in the human family. Someone asked earlier, I think it's someone asked online, is Kwanzaa just for black people? You listen to these principles, these are universal principles that human beings can follow. But we know as African people who had a very unique experience in these times of a serious disruption of our families and communities and our culture, we have to shine the light in demonstrating how you overcome such a challenging experience by coming back together and working together to rebuild what was lost and rebuild it even better than before so that it never crumbles again. And when we can demonstrate for the human family how it's done, then every group can learn from our experience.
So let's learn a little bit from our listeners. We got a lot of calls. I'm uploading the information Baba Kwame's son who has sent me, and I'll be sharing that shortly. But let's go to the phone line. 312-671, Grand Rise. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what's your comment as it relates to Kwanzaa?
Well, Shalom, Grand Rising. This is Minister Pump in Chicago. Yes, how you doing today? Happy Kwanzaa to you and everybody in your family.
Likewise. Happy Kwanzaa to you too, brother.
Well, thank you. We are officially introducing Blacktown today to Chicago, America, and the world. Yes, Blacktown. Plus, we're introducing BlackRadioTVNetwork.com. And
okay,
we are
hold on. Minister Plum.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you commenting today on Kwanzaa?
Yes, it's all on Kwanzaa. If you just hear me out, beloved. Because it's something that you need to know, that all what you've been discussing is called information as a key to success. And we're going to praise the Lord because he is the greatest and the best. All you got to do, and the best of the best, is check out the wealth. But we're going to have vendors this evening. Black love matters too. And black people should quit hating themselves and learn to hold ourselves accountable for the conditions of our community and support our efforts as we exercise change. And that's the greatest thing, and the one thing that's for certain that we all must do is change from negative to PMA, positive mental attitude. I'm expecting the Harold Washington Foundation.info to share, and that's another major thing, unity in the community. Black and Black love, information is a key to success, and happy Kwanzaa. Black power education is the very, very best. December the 26th, that's today, the fourth Monday, which is dedicated to Dr. Webb Evans, Pastor Marion Earl Sorton, Mayor Washington, plus you, and yours truly, Minister Robert Floyd Plum. For more information, brothers and sisters can contact us at the Harold Washington Foundation.info or call me direct at 312-671-2773. And that's our history and culture in unity today in the community. God bless you. Thank you a million for listening to me. The Female Solution is #1 blog radio station all in the nation, across the world. And we love you. Thank you. God bless your heart. Happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa to you, too. Thank you so much for calling in, for sharing that information. Minister Robert Floyd Plump, who is a regular listener here, and he always has wonderful contributions to share with our listening audience and viewing audience. If you're viewing online, we are on our channels on YouTube and Facebook, Higher Learning TV Show. And you be sure and share this with someone today, because somebody somewhere doesn't know exactly what Kwanzaa is, why it exists, and things of that nature. Let you be the light to show what Kwanzaa is and how it affects the community. Yeah, so we're going to end this, Kwame, and I'm going to just upload the information that you sent me. I'm going to put it on my blog. Okay?
We've come to the end of our show today, but you can hear every show in the archives at www.blogtalkradio.com/the-female-solution. You can also hear today's show on the Female Solution Facebook page. Go to www.facebook.com/thefemalesolution. Leave your comments about today's show. You can always reach me on my website at www.naimalatif.com. That's www.naimalatif.com. Watch our TV shows, listen to our radio shows, order our books, and be sure to get your copy of the book, The Female Solution. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussion. And to our global family listening from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, Sheshe, India, Zanyaba, Japan, Arigato, Korea, Kamsahamnida, Russia, Spasiba, Germany, Danke, Poland, John Kujon, France, Merci, Spain, Gracias, Italy, Grazie, Egypt, Shukran, Ghana, Medasi, Nigeria, Eshe, South Africa, Ngiyabonga, Senegal, Geret, Kenya, Asante, Israel, Toda, Pakistan, Shukriya. Afghanistan, Tashakkur. Saudi Arabia, Shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.